Hello and welcome back to the Authentic Creative Expanding Your Capacity to Feel Good. I'm very excited because I have my friend Patrick here today. And I'm going to tell you guys about him really briefly and then we'll get into chatting. So, Patrick Boylan is a skilled multi-instrumentalist with a deep passion for self-education. I love that. Despite 8 years of traditional piano lessons, Patrick found the repetitive nature of practicing the same pieces uninspiring. Like many music students, he struggled with the conventional approach. However, when his teacher retired, Patrick began exploring his parents' sheet music on his own, selecting phrases that he enjoyed and improvising around them. So, this self directed experimentation not only reignited his interest in music, but also led him to uncover the foundational elements of musical theater. So today, Patrick can sight read virtually any musical theater composition, and his experience with traditional music education combined with his innovative spirit inspired him to co-found MuseFlow. And we're going to get into MuseFlow, a cutting edge music ed tech startup often referred to as the Duolingo of music education. And we're going to give you guys a fun little discount code, which is Authentic 50. We'll talk about that, and that'll be in the show notes. So, thank you so much for taking the time to join our authentic creatives who are expanding their capacity to feel good. Patrick, I'm curious, where did you grow up? Where did your musical theater beginnings start? Your interest in music start?
Well, first and foremost, thanks for the intro. That's a lot. I feel like we've covered everything. So, we're
Yeah,
good.
we're good. We're
No, yeah.
done. You can go
Um,
home.
yeah, great. All right, I'll see you later. All right, bye. Uh, where did I grew up in Chicago, born and raised, heart of Chicago. Um, my dad, he was an actor, and my mom worked in news. So my dad was working at a dinner theater for the majority of my childhood. So he ended up taking me a lot to the theater, and I sat there watching him do his stuff on stage with all of his friends, and um, they're still great friends now. And I think
Oh.
that's where my love of theater really started. My first joke was on stage when I was like 8 years old, and I was, it was called Gangster Town, and I got up on stage and I did this whole thing. I'm like, okay, so if I roll up both parts of my tie, the top one and the bottom one, and I roll them up to the top and I let them go, which one do you think is going to fall first? And I pulled the audience, and this cute little kid sitting up here with this flat, this big old suit, pinstripes going down. And everybody's like, the bottom one, the top one, the bottom. All right. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. And I let it go. And I'm like, it's a tie. And
Ah.
everybody just like laughed at. So like that was like the initial part of like my, I don't know, creative life. Music started when I was right around 8 years old as well. I wanted to take piano lessons, and my parents were like, it's a lifelong hobby. You're gonna have to really stick with it. And I'm like, I really want to start. Yeah. And so right around 8 is when I got entrenched in the traditional ways of teaching piano.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and learning piano in a way that wasn't really suiting you, but you loved music and you
Yeah.
loved entertaining, you loved performing, and your
Yeah.
parents were such an integral part of music and performance. Your mom was in news? What was she doing in news?
Yeah, she produced the like daily news at KC not KCRW. Oh gosh, what was it? CLTV was another one, Chicagoland Television.
Wow. So
And there were a couple other networks that she produced news at, yeah.
both of them in entertainment in various
Yeah.
ways. And here you are just embracing it, loving it, enjoying it, playing with it, being playful. But then, as your bio says, like finding these kind of traditional approaches to music, just not sitting right with your soul and not inspiring you. And then
None of
eventually you
inspiring.
found like your own path, your own authentic path towards diving deep, deep into music. And you've continued to dive deeper and deeper into music and your love for music and playfulness of music and the way that you comprehend it. And I sort of think of your muse flow experience as like traditional math versus new math. Like,
Yeah,
let's put
totally.
this together in a different way that's actually going to be more helpful to you. Like, let's
Yeah.
organize it in pieces that are going to. But I'd love you to explain just at the top of our conversation, what is MuseFlow? Like, why does it light you up so much? Why is it so exciting to you? And like, who and how can they benefit? Like, what is this gonna do for someone who's interested in music?
Yeah, you talk about reordering the process of learning, and it's not necessarily about reordering what we learn, but
Okay.
it's the process of actually learning. It's reinventing skill acquisition
Okay.
and how we actually do that. Like most people do not learn, now we know this, in classrooms very well.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm a much more auditory learner than most people are.
Mm.
I digest information auditorially so much better than I do from reading it, right?
Yep.
And there are countless other ways of learning. One of them that we're embracing with MuseFlow is this kinesthetic approach to skill acquisition. This like get it in your body sort of thing.
Yeah, I love this. It's
So
like an
the,
embodied audio, it's a full sensory embodied experience, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, kinda. Most of it is like we give you a new skill, a new whether that's a new note or a new rhythm or something like that. And then you learn that in isolation first. We give you music that never repeats and constantly is evolving and changing to adapt to how you're playing.
Oh, interesting.
And so we give you that music that just constantly flows in front of you. And it's at your skill level, whether it's one note or whether it's 50 notes, it's right there with you. You know, you can drop into the curriculum wherever you want to.
So,
Um,
so I've always wanted to be better at playing any instrument, honestly, but piano specifically is what this is for, yeah?
right now, later down the road, we'll incorporate like all common instruments.
Okay.
We want to do this for guitar. We want to do this for singing. We want to do this for drums, for bass, um,
Wow,
and
that's so
for
cool.
and for all like other like orchestral instruments, you know, orchestral instruments, we've got, you know, violin, upright bass, viola, clarinet, tuba, sousaphone, saxophone. Like we want to do it for every instrument because the way that
Yeah,
we're building it right now allows us to kind of scale for that. We
great.
know that this is our goal, so we're building the product right now so that it can account for those later on. Um, you know, we're taking our time. We're really enjoying the process of creating, and I'm doing it with my friends, you know?
Oh my gosh. I love that you say you're
So
taking your time, you're doing it with your friends, you're enjoying it because those are the ingredients
I
for
know.
anything to be. We have to enjoy the process
We
as
do. Like,
creatives.
what's the point
What's the
otherwise?
point if you're not enjoying the process? And the
Seriously.
outcome is going to be the best outcome it could be if you're enjoying it. Because if you're not enjoying it, the outcomes, how is it going to be good?
Right, right. I mean, we hear like, you know, there are these sets that of TV shows that are like really toxic and terrible.
Mm,
And
mm.
yeah, they like produce really cool things, but like at the end of the day, like I personally don't want to create anything that I'm not enjoying the process of creating,
Yeah.
you know? And
Yeah. It's not
so
worth it.
not worth it for me.
Yeah.
And so that, you know, that's very, very important for me, you know. And
Oh,
I've always been told that like work with your friends, work with the people that you love. It will change your relationships with them. It will. But if you do it well
right.
and you do it right and you do it with empathy and you do it with love and kindness,
Communication.
so important, you
Yeah,
know?
you learn so much. Yeah, collaboration is one of my favorite things. Like
Me
what we're
too.
doing right now. I mean, as an artist, that intimacy, that's why I love podcasting, right? And you're
Mhm.
also a voiceover actor.
I do a little bit of audiobooks, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I got into it during COVID.
Yeah.
Because all the TV shows and I am an actor as well, and so I got, you know, a lot of TV shows and movies shut down during COVID, of course, and so got into audiobook narrating, and I love it. I find flow there for sure, but it's such a solo activity that you're right, I miss the collaboration. Like, why did I get into this industry in the first place? It's so that I could collaborate with other people. I love taking
Yeah.
direction from a director. I love
Yes.
it. Like,
Yes.
egoless decision making is like so a part of MuseFlow, and it's not about whether that's right for you, it's about whether that's right for the product. you know? And you could say the same thing about a film or TV. It's not about if that feels good to you or if that feels right to you. It's about, does that serve the project? You know,
Mm.
that's what collaboration's all about for me.
Egoless decision making. Please tell me even more about this because this is a new phrase and I really like it.
Mm. Yeah, I think that we all can stand to be a little less egotistical, you know?
Okay.
And if your focus as an individual is on like something larger than yourself, right? I want to make the best movie out. Are you hearing that or no? Okay, great. There's
We're
something
good.
going on upstairs. And I'm like, what is this? Uh yeah, so if your intention and your motivation is to make the project that you're working on the best that it possibly can be, that releases your ego a little bit. It says to yourself, okay, it's not about me. It's about
Yeah,
making the best product that you possibly can.
right.
The best film, the best movie, and or the best app that you can. And so
Yes.
we all try our best in MuseFlow to let it be about what's best for the actual app itself instead of what I want to do.
So you're doing that by having people get into this membership, play with it, and give you their honest real-time feedback, yeah?
Oh yeah, our early adopters are incredibly integral to the building of this app. And that's something I want to keep doing. I want these people to tell me what they want, and then we as a team will implement that. For example, our somebody just emailed us and was like, "Hey, I'm using MuseFlow, and I really want the opportunity to turn off the cursor." That kind of guides you across
Mm.
the music. I want to
Mm-hmm.
be able to do that myself. I feel like I'm depending on that cursor too much to
Yep.
keep me in time with the metronome. I want to do that on my own. Can I have an
Sure.
option to just toggle that on and off?
Yeah.
And we were like, that's a great idea. We'll do that this week. No problem. And so that kind of thing.
That's amazing. So much of being an entrepreneur is what you're talking about, is that egoless, really being of service to what do you need? And really being an entrepreneur is so much about listening. Same with
Yeah.
acting, right? Same with channeling, doing anything authentically where we're channeling, where we're in flow. It's like really being of service to like what is in front of me and taking it in and integrating it and then
Yeah.
working in collaboration with that thing you're interacting with.
Yeah, totally, totally. I like putting these sort of motivations, these larger than life goals for myself, right? Like for example, I want to be the best partner that I can be to my wife. That's something you'll never actively fully 100% attain ever.
Sure.
Ever. You're not going to be the
It's
perfect.
like, how do I be the best human? It's
Yeah,
just
right,
like,
right. Like you want to
let's
be the best human. That's
just
amazing.
keep going.
Just keep going. Put that as your pinnacle of success, and
Yeah.
then you'll always be striving for something.
Mm-hmm.
My co-founder, he's such a philosopher. He talks about it as platonic forms. He's like,
Ooh.
Plato came up with this idea of like there are these concepts that you'll never actually truly be able to attain, and
Yeah.
to create and to put those as your benchmark for success. You'll never actively attain that because that's not, you don't need to be really goal oriented. I mean, yeah, be goal oriented, want to try to attain that, but just know that every step towards that idea of a perfection
Mm-hmm.
is a step to success,
And I
you
love
know?
how you see your idea because what is that anyway? Like
That's personal to you, you know?
Michelangelo had his own version of what he thought was perfection. You know, it's
Yeah,
never actually set in stone.
all pun
It's
intended.
it's just what is our perceived version of perfection and how can we make it be a motivator coming from a place of love
Yeah,
within our intention of how we treat ourselves and others, as opposed to coming from a place of being hard on ourselves to reach that perfect app or that perfect relationship.
yeah,
Because, that if in the attainment of quotes, our idea of perfection, we are beating ourselves up, punishing ourselves into the version of perfection again, like what we were saying before of enjoying the process, we're missing the point.
You're missing the point. I definitely think about it in terms of like, I don't want to create a goal for myself that is literally physically attainable. Okay. Like, I don't want to give myself the goal of like, I want to be 200 pounds. I'm 210 right now. Right. I don't want to be 200 pounds. Right. I'm 6'3", and I like, that's a goal. That's for sure a goal. But at the same time, I'm like, there's too many factors that are involved in that. Also, I don't want to give myself a hard goal. Here's what I want. This is the goal that I give myself. I want to live the healthiest lifestyle that I possibly can.
Mm.
That's a goal that's never truly attainable. That's so
Mm.
amorphous. That's so like ethereal and like, what is that goal? You know?
Right. There's
But
so much involved.
there's so much involved, right?
Yeah.
And so to always keep striving to live the healthiest lifestyle that you possibly can always gives you a goal to try to hit and a process to continue to work on. And it's always self-improvement. I'm like, I love it.
Yeah, as opposed to like if you said the 200 or the 210 or two whatever, that specific thing, you would be like, now I need to move the goalpost. Now I
or
need to
you're
move the dangling carrot because I got there and now what?
or you'll always be kind of beating yourself up for failure because
Mm,
you'll never, maybe you'll never actually get there, or you'll only find happiness when you get there.
yeah.
Oh my God, what are you
What
going to
a
be like
delusion. Yeah.
unhappy the entire time you're working on this? Like, what's the
Yes.
no, work on something that is so amorphous and unattainable. Let that be your goalpost, because then your positive reinforcement, it's constantly working. You're constantly striving for something. Humans need something to strive for. We just do. It's just a part of our species, you
Yep.
know?
Yeah.
So,
So I love this. This is great. So you were talking about growing up and then we kind of skipped over your whole life. So
yeah.
let's go back. Let's talk about you. Like as an authentic creative, as a theater kid, loving musical theater, what are some apex moments for you in that world?
um, I think, there was, I ended up like being really bullied when I was younger. I was such a poser. I tried to, be the cool kid. I was like, so I tried to be a part of that, and I always had this sort of like trying to keep up with the Joneses mentality when I was younger. We lived on a block of millionaire houses, and we were the only one that was worth like 300,000, right? So
Mm,
I constantly had this like I'm not good enough sort of mentality. So I
yeah.
kept overcompensating, and and then I was just a shell of a human when I met one of my best friends, Emily. She was my locker. She was like right next to my locker. We had two lockers
Locker mates.
yeah, in junior high. And so uh, I never really knew her because she was a part of the honor students. They always were like kind of off in their own world, right?
Uh-huh, yes.
And so I never really knew her, but we started just totally bonded. Our humors lined up. We were like laughing our butts off. Conversation just flowed. She invited me to hang out with all of her friends.
Mm,
And I was able to kind of reinvent myself, but do it in an authentic way because I was more like, I was just I just tried to find who I really was in an atmosphere that it didn't feel burdened by like my past, you know? And it was early on enough that it was like junior high and I was able to build a full-blown foundation. It's not like I'm trying to reinvent myself at 30, you know?
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but
Did you
I
move around a lot, or you mostly were through the same schooling your whole time? You had that kind of through line?
third grade, we moved out to the suburbs because there was a gang shooting across the street in Portage Park in Chicago.
Mm,
And my parents were like, we're not raising our kids here.
mm,
So we moved out to Glen Ellen, Lombard area in Chicago, northwest suburbs. And that's where I went to high school, Glenbard West,
mhm.
and junior high, Hadley. And so it was right around third grade where I kind of like entered this new world and I tried to be somebody who I wasn't really. And then come junior high, I found Emily, and Emily involved me and all of her friends, and I really created my authentic self at that moment. And I
Love
grew up with
it.
a dad that was full blown authentic. Like, he is such an emotional creature. He never once put on anything. And so I learned really from him, like, what it means to be like your true authentic self.
Hmm.
As an actor, he wore his heart on his sleeve. He was
Hmm.
funny as he's so funny. Like, he's so authentic and so just genuinely him. So I had a really good role model for that.
I love
And then
it.
I found myself in junior high, and then in high school, I really started like actually getting into theater. I broke my leg sophomore year of high school,
Oh, wow.
climbing a tree. Um,
Yeah.
And my sister was the stage manager for the musical, and she was like, "Hey, why don't you audition?" And I'm like, "I have a cast. What do you?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "No, no, no, audition. Like, you should try it out." And so I auditioned, and I got to callbacks, and I really did enjoy the process. Cut to next year, I actually auditioned for the musical, and I got in. I played the lead character in a show called South Pacific. Emile Debec. I played the French aristocrat, and I had to sing some beautiful tunes. It's great. So that really got that was
And
the
how
theater
about
bug.
community theater? Was that ever something you got
No, we never
into?
had community theater, but I know a lot of people like got into theater because of community theater, but like
Hmm.
we just had a really good theater program for our high school.
Nice.
Um, did you like is that kind of how you got into it?
Well, I did both. Like, so I did
Okay,
all
cool.
all the high school stuff like you're talking about, but then I also dabbled in the community theater as well. So we did Pippin in my high school, and we did Pippin in the community theater, and I did
Oh,
both
no way.
both versions.
So they
Yeah.
clearly didn't talk to each other.
Do you have you ever played Pippin?
I did. I did.
Oh, I
I
love
was in the
Pippin.
chorus. I was in the chorus for Pippin, yeah.
Love it. And Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, I love.
We never did that one, but I I do like that show. It's very fun. Yeah.
We also did something called like Dracula the Musical,
Really?
which was meant to be the drama, but she made it a music. It was, yeah, it was great. It was great. So I love the fact that you're so steeped in all of this musical theater, that your dad was such a creative, such an authentic creative.
Yeah.
And then your mom was, in the entertainment world. And so now this MuseFlow thing. So what do you feel like is important that is going to connect with people about MuseFlow? Like, what is it for people that are specifically like experts and they need to get to the next level? Is it for beginners? Is it all, is it across the gamut,
We keep being told to kind of find our demographic. Find the people that you want to pitch to and that you really think MuseFlow is exactly for them, and then find them. And
Yeah.
we're like, we kind of can't. That's kind of the cool thing about MuseFlow, is that it is for everybody. We have 8-year-olds playing with their teacher.
Mm.
We have retired people who have completed the entire curriculum already. We have 26 levels so far. We're building out Unit 2, which is going to get even more expansive. But 26 levels gets you to 14 notes, 4 or 5 rhythms, 3 different key signatures. Like, you really have to be working on that keyboard, right? 14 notes is more than 10 hands, so you're really working, right?
More
We
than
have
10 fingers, you mean?
Wait, what did I say?
10
Yes.
hands.
More than 10 hands. No, yeah. Yes, more
We
than
knew,
10
we knew
fingers.
what you meant.
Um, so yeah, we have retired people that have already completed what we've got, but they lower, so you have to get our kind of threshold, we've gamified the whole process, right? So you have to get 4
Which is
phrases of
so
music.
cool. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. 4 phrases of music you have to play at 95% accuracy
Okay.
at the goal tempo of that level, the goal pace of that level.
Hmm.
You have to play it 4 phrases in a row at 95% accuracy to successfully pass a level or
That's
pass a
fun.
tier within that level, right? And then to us, you're like, you have successfully mastered that skill.
Yeah.
Now, we have retirees that are playing this every day for like 30 minutes a day, but they've already completed the curriculum. Here's what they do. They lower the tempo by 1 beat per minute so that they can
Okay.
never pass the level.
Oh.
So all they're doing is just playing the infinitely generated music, just
Uh-huh.
continuously playing, locked in, flow, connected with everything falls away. They've talked to me about this, and I'm like, this is so cool. What a use case for MuseFlow, that it's your way to get outside of your life for a second. It's your
Hmm.
way to find flow after a boring day of work. You come home, and instead of watching TV, you lock into MuseFlow for 30 minutes, and you're just like in flow state for 30 minutes in that groove. Like, come on.
I mean, I started to learn how to play the keyboard when I was younger, and then and I had some piano lessons, but I just never went further than that. So I would love to try to learn. I would love to
Right.
learn. Not try, I would love to learn.
Well, it doesn't even matter. It's just like, if you like see, this is the thing about MuseFlow. It's not even about, because so many people are like, music education takes a lot of discipline.
Right.
To learn an instrument, you need a ton of discipline. But we're like, how about we just make the process of learning fun and
Yeah.
engaging and
Yeah.
also better than the original way of teaching?
It reminds me of Guitar Hero.
A little bit, a little bit, but we're actually using sheet music so that you can go apply the skills that you're learning in the sight
It's
reading training.
less of a game, more of like actually going to teach you how to do
It's
new skill.
both. It
Okay.
is, we think about edutainment in a way of like education and entertainment,
Mm-hmm.
whereas like you see TV shows that are very educational, but
Mm-hmm.
we're a game that's very educational and very applicable to actual sheet music songs. So the way it works is you pass a level and then songs get unlocked, and you can actually go and apply the skills that you've learned in that level to the songs that get unlocked in your repertoire library.
And you
So
can pick the type of songs that you want to play, or does it just kind of generate it for you?
we only have about 150 songs right now.
Okay.
But there will be, I mean, our competitors musician have like 10,000 songs in their database. And so we're going to be absolutely adding more as we go along. But right now, about 5 per level get unlocked. Um, that's kind of where we're at right now.
The amount of confidence that I feel like I would gain from actually having something be fun where I'm learning how to play piano would be amazing. I mean, that because once you feel confident in one area about something you're learning, not only are you like building new neural pathways in your
Yeah.
brain, and it's like helping you to have more clarity and more cognitive function just in general, but also just that confidence that, oh, I've learned this new skill that I never really fully acquired when I
Mhm.
tried to previously. I think that would just deepen my level of confidence in all of the areas of my
Oh my
life.
God, there's so many things to unpack in what you just said. Number
Yeah.
one, like your opinion about learning new things is because of the traditional way of learning.
Mm,
You like every we see kids these days in traditional lessons and in school, anytime they come across any sense of failure, they play a wrong note. They play another wrong note. They have to stop because it's just like so
mm,
overwhelming for them, you
yeah.
know? But with MuseFlow, on the other hand, there's a user that we just watched play last week
Hmm.
that he was like, okay, I'm just gonna finish. I just completed level 18. I'm gonna go to the repertoire library. I'm gonna play this one song. Cool, here we go. Boom. And he just goes and he just goes and he just goes and he's messing up so much.
Yeah. But he
He's
doesn't care because he's just having fun.
rolling off of his shoulder these notes that are wrong. It doesn't even matter to him. He's just playing because the act of simply playing, he's reframed learning. We're reframing the concept of learning to make it more engaging, more personalized, and more fun. You know,
Yeah. Well, it's
um,
interesting because typing class,
very similar, very
I was
similar on that
always
one.
I was always like giggling and being silly, but I knew I could type. The reason I knew how to type so well is because of a game that I had at home that was like a computer game that made it fun.
What was the
So
name of it? Do you
in
remember the
school,
name?
I don't remember the
It's
name
like,
of it, but
uh,
I typed so well because of that.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah, yeah.
totally was like messing around during class in school, but then when it came to the testing, I aced it because I had
Nice.
learned from this game.
It's
So I
amazing,
feel
right?
like if I could, yeah, I feel like if I could learn from a game like that, I could actually play piano.
That game probably got you into flow state. It was a perfect challenge for your skill level,
Yeah.
and you were able to drop in, and that is what flow state. It's where the challenge meets your skill, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're just again, humans need something to strive for, right?
Yeah.
So you're pushed just a little bit outside of your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not boring because you're being pushed a little bit.
Right.
So and that's where we want to leave. That's where we want to keep you in
Mm-hmm.
that zone of flow, where the challenge meets your skill level, just so you're being pushed a little bit. Again, it's such a
Yeah.
human thing that we
And
need.
I would love to have my kids like video games, and instead of them playing video games for several hours, I would love for them to do this instead for half an hour. And they're,
It's a game. Like, I mean, there are kids that, again, some of our early adopters that are they just want to do this, you know?
yeah.
There's a math game out there that's very similar. It gets you into flow state and it keeps you there. And
Okay.
there's a lot of kids that want to play that game too. Like they get
Okay.
home and I need to remember the name of it, but
I mean, Minecraft is one of the ones that they like to do, and that's this building with the blocks, right?
Mm,
So there's a similarity to it's like it's just kind of like using your brain in a way to like spatial awareness and building, and it's probably similar
yeah.
to
A user told me um some feedback. This was early on when we were like testing it with some friends.
yeah.
I was watching her play and she was like, "Oh my God, I can literally feel myself learning this. I can literally feel myself getting
Wow.
it." And then she just started like acing it. She was at like 75% for a couple phrases. And then she was like, "Oh, I get it now." And then she literally just started playing it perfectly. And I'm like, "What just happened?" So that is something that we like to talk about, is like we like to capture that aha moment. That,
What you're talking about is that your body learns it because I'm no longer, when I'm typing, right, from that game I played, I'm no longer thinking about what letter I'm typing.
exactly.
My body is doing it because it has memorized where the keys are.
Yeah. Yes,
So you're
exactly.
like viscerally getting it into the body, so you're not thinking.
Kinesthetically learning it in the context of what you already know.
That's the flow.
The
Yeah.
problem with traditional ways of teaching is that you only learn that new skill, that new note, that new rhythm in the context of one specific song that your teacher gives you to go practice at home, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you come back, and if you've aced it
Hot
perfectly,
cross buns, hot cross
right.
buns.
And
Like
they're so
what?
boring too. They're like such boring pieces of music that when you come back and you've perfected it, great. Now here's the problem. You've only learned that new skill in that one specific context of that one specific song. So what we're
Yeah.
doing is we're teaching you the new skill, a new note, a new rhythm outside of songs, okay? Inside of music that never repeats. And so you can explore that new concept in such a multitude of contexts that and then you go apply the embodied skill to songs.
Yeah.
We're just adding another step in the educational process. But this was impossible to be able to do without technology.
Yeah, instead of playing one song, you can now play 10 songs because you've learned this specific way of doing it that you can apply to all of these. Got it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So anyway, I love talking about flow state. Like, and that to me is like finding your most authentic self, right? You can find it in flow, and what if we were able to reorder our lives and reframe the idea of skill acquisition with flow state at its core, and personalization at its core? I think that the world would be a better place with that, you know?
I am curious about integrating because you said something about applying MuseFlow to various instruments and something. Did you mention singing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, because that would be my next thing is like, ooh, if I gained confidence with MuseFlow, I can play a piano, then I'd be like, ooh, let me see how I can apply singing to this and that confidence and like integrate singing and all of a sudden now I'm playing piano and I'm singing. I mean,
Yeah.
that would be a dream. Like to be, I mean, who's Billy Joel, but like to be like even like in the realm of, you know, that
Well,
kind
if
of
there's any sort of inspiration, that's what I do over at my piano bar. That I
yeah.
I I play and sing at the same
Yeah.
time. So,
Yeah.
and it, like, again, talk about flow state, right? It's that interaction between the audience and me that, like, you're telling a story, you're interacting with them, and you're singing and playing at the same time. It's a fun skill to be able to do. It really is. And I
Tell
think
me
you're very
more.
capable. You're very capable of that.
Tell me.
Everybody
Thank
is.
you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm gonna take this on. So tell me more when you say it's so fun. You're interacting with the audience, you're playing, you're singing. Tell me more about this.
Mm.
Just what is your experience of it? What is the best experience of it? And also like maybe something where you felt challenged with it and then you overcame it. Both of those are interesting to me.
I think the most whenever I'm the most authentic to who I am, and I'm experiencing the song when I'm playing it, I'm actually feeling the lyrics, and I'm actually performing it because I perform a lot of musical theater over at my piano bar. And so whenever I I perform a piece that actually has a journey for the character, and I'm actually being that character, and I'm being the most authentic version of that character for myself, the audience is the most engaged. And I
Yeah.
think there's something we really need to take away with that, right? That is, it's wild to me that like you can be the most like emotionally vulnerable and the most authentic, but that's what people grab onto. That's what people want to see, you
Yeah.
know? That is the most fun whenever I'm having it. And I'm like I'm playing an emotional song or something like that, like a ballad or something like that, or like an angry, rock something, whatever it may be, and
Hmm.
I'm telling the story of it. Um, and by the end of it, I'm like very just in it, and like I'm getting a little teary because I'm like
Mm.
really like in it, and then I
Hmm.
look up and everybody's applauding. You're like, well, shit, like that's why we got into this, you know?
Mm.
It's you've affected people by
Yeah.
being vulnerable and authentic.
Yeah. I love it.
That's
And
performance.
so when have you felt challenged in your process, like you just couldn't get in flow and then something clicked in for you? Like what was that thing that helped you to get more into flow?
Um, well, I mean, if I'm
Yeah.
being completely honest, I like so ADD.
Okay.
I really do I'm quite scatterbrained, and so I was never really able to find a lot of flow in my life until I got diagnosed, and I have Adderall now. But I had been doing a lot of like coping mechanisms beforehand. It's like finding that flow state within my life. That's my coping mechanism. That was it.
Mm.
I was trying so much to find these pockets of joy and bouncing around to different things, and then I like tricked my mind into realizing that finishing a task was actually so gratifying. It's not even a trick, it's just true. And so I recognize that moment of finish over and over and over, and I try to ingrain that inside myself, and then that's of course what I want to accomplish, right?
Mm.
Adderall was one of the biggest things that helped me kind of like find that in the mundane a little bit more. Because with an app, like you got to do some stuff that like you're building an app. Like I'm not like an app founder really. Even though I am, that's not what I like
Yeah, you're an
necessarily.
artist.
I don't
Yeah.
necessarily identify as that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I'm a creative, and I like doing that kind of work.
Yeah.
I like doing this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, so whenever I'm doing the mundane with the app, and I have to like, you know, I don't know, write a blog post or something like that about something pretty boring.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to pop a little bit of Adderall, and like I find so much gratification from the small little things. Honestly, that has been a huge hack for my life, is getting diagnosed and actually having some medication that helps.
Good. Well, I'm glad that you were able to have the awareness that you needed to seek something and that you found some solace in that. Are there other practices that are healing for you? Anything sort of like breathwork or Reiki or spiritual practices or meditation or exercise? Anything else that's kind of tapped you into flow that you find on a regular basis can help you?
Definitely exercise.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, speaking of Reiki, I know you're a Reiki master. I'm a level 1 Reiki master myself.
Amazing.
Um, I I got I got certified in college. Me and some friends like took a whole day with this lovely old couple, and we sat with them, and we learned the practices of Reiki, and I've kind of co-opted Reiki a little bit. Um, what I do with meditation is I try to open my crown chakra, and I try to feel the energy of the world, you know. Is that what Reiki is? That what you call the energy of the world, or
Yeah, life force energy
life
and
force
energy of
energy? Yeah.
unconditional love and
Mm,
just tapping into sort of being the channel for this life
yeah.
force. Yeah.
So what I try so hard to do it, and I haven't been able to successfully do it in a very long time. But again, this is like a goal that I want to attain. So I keep working at it. I keep working at it. I open my crown chakra, and I want to become that channel for that life force. I sit on grass, and preferably next to a river, and I try so hard to just feel the energy life force energy just circulating through my body and digging deeper until it gets all the way to my roots that I've grown into the earth. And I try to just simply be that channel for the
Mm.
energy to circulate through me into the earth, through me into the earth. I try to imagine that. I try to be that. And I haven't successfully done it in a very long time, but I keep working at it. And that is always that practice of trying to be that channel is extremely, uh, it's I don't know, it's calming. There's so much that I get from that.
May I say two things?
Please.
So one, how amazing is it that you took first degree Reiki and you got your attunements and that that's a part of you and that it'll always be a part of you and that you took it from this lovely couple
Yeah.
and that you were open to that and that's something that still informs you. Two, actually, I have more than two things to say. Two is the fact that you obviously have this reverence for it and this kind of what I call a perfect picture of what you think it quotes should be,
Mm,
right? And
mhm.
then side note, you channel all the time, you're in flow all the time. Your spiritual flow is just through creation and music and connection
Mhm.
and art and singing and like everyone has like that's your spirituality is like when you're playing, when you're singing, when you're
Right.
connecting, when you're acting, right? Like
Performing, acting, yeah, for sure.
yeah, like it's coming on the note, it's coming on the word, it's coming on the vibration. That's your spirituality and that's so valid and so beautiful and you give so much of service of yourself in that way and through this app just the excitement I hear what you're saying from the responses from people that it's changing their lives and giving them confidence and giving them escape and giving them an ability that they never would have had. It's incredible. This app is incredible. So that, but then also with Reiki, I heard you say try and working hard and trying and working and working and trying. And
Oh, yeah, that's, like, so antithetical to, like, what it takes.
yeah, and you know
Yeah,
before I
you're
even
so
say
right,
the
you're
rest of
so
it,
right.
but it's
Oh.
just remembering. It's
Yeah,
just
thanks.
remembering
Thank
because
you.
we
I needed that.
forget.
I needed that. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's how I think I approach when I'm thinking about trying to learn piano. I'm like, oh, if I try hard enough, I might be able to learn piano,
Right.
right? Because it's
Right.
just not my zone of genius yet, but there,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So I think everyone has their natural inclinations. And so
Right.
for me, obviously, Reiki is so much like letting go, letting God, letting go, and letting flow, letting go, and then like surrender, 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 surrender,
Oh
surrender,
god, you're
surrender,
so
surrender.
right. That's so right. Because man,
But you
you
haven't
hit
been
it on the
focusing on
nail.
Reiki, so of course
I
you wouldn't have
haven't. I
remembered
haven't.
this.
But you're
And
right
it was
though.
so
It's
long
like
ago.
I spend too much time trying to force it, and I need to take a page from my own book. It's like it's not about forcing it. It's about finding that flow. It's about releasing and
Yes,
relaxing into it and
yes,
finding the breath and just that's what you need to
yes,
focus on. Like I
yes.
you're right. For some reason, I have been doing that for the past couple of years, more than 10 years. I haven't been
Wow.
able to drop into this, like full blown
Yeah,
be the channel, you know?
yeah.
So
Yeah,
like,
I mean, you
man, you're
are the
so
channel.
right.
You're so, Patrick, you're so the channel all the time. You are the channel. And I think it's just that thing of like this idea that we somehow got 15 years, 10 years ago that like it was a certain thing that we have to emulate and like we're gonna only emulate it if we like do these certain things and try really hard.
Yeah,
And I
right.
think that's the same thing you were saying to me. My block around I don't think I can learn piano. It's so hard. And you're like, no, dude, just play. Play
Yeah,
with
that's
this
it.
app. Just let
Yeah.
it flow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
totally.
great. It's
Totally.
great.
Thank you for like telling me like literally what I told you in regards to music. You're like, but Reiki is the same thing though. That
Yes, we're
that
both
channeling
channeling. We're
we
both in flow.
And you're more in flow, of course, it sounds like, with Reiki and with meditation, whereas I'm more in flow with music and that music performance. Um, it's great. Like we're informing each other. This is good.
Yeah, so how can our audience that's listening apply where their zone of genius is, where they know they can get into flow more easily and apply that to learning something different that's outside of what they feel like they could do,
I would
right?
just say, I mean, your zone of genius is your zone of genius. Absolutely. And I don't think the majority of people that are going to be using this app, music is their zone of genius.
Okay.
They want to learn because they find playing music fun. They're
Mm,
self-starters. They're self-motivators. They're people that love self-learning.
yeah.
And so, that's a lot of our early adopters at least, but uh a lot of people that are going to be using this app is they're going to be learning how to play piano, and then they're going to go out and perform. I don't think that MuseFlow is meant for the people where music is their zone of genius just yet.
Okay.
We're building out the
But you said
ecosystem.
there's like 24 levels and you couldn't get past the 23rd or something?
So yeah, you remember this from our previous conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was at level 24 or 23 for months. Um and
So there
then
is a challenge.
I'm a professional pianist, right?
Yeah.
So getting to level 26 is really difficult. So yes, don't get me wrong. What we've got so far is really challenging, but there
Yeah.
are people that are able to just do it like that.
Mm, mm.
I brought it to a good friend of mine who is a trained pianist as well, and he was able to do it on his first try. He
All
he
the way through, he broke through every level.
he sight read level 26 like nobody's business.
Okay. So he's maybe the exception.
I think a lot of people are not going to be able to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this is why we're building out Unit 2. This is why we're building out Unit 3. This is why we're building out the exercise section where you can go and dive deeper into concepts and subjects that you're more interested in doing, and you can have more specialized exercises and sight reading, curriculum. Like what if you as a jazz pianist really want to work on major seventh chords, right? You can then grab one of those exercises in the exercise library that exercises major seventh chords,
Okay.
or when we build our I don't know what we're going to call it yet, but where you can build a level
Mm-hmm.
where whatever
Oh.
you want to work on, you
Mm-hmm.
can then set it so
Mm-hmm.
that you want to work on major seventh chords in the key of D in 3/4. And, I want to also, maybe there's some other boosts that you want to do, you want to boost it with the left hand arpeggiating certain chord or whatever, like you can boost it with other things. That's where it's going to be for like people where music is their zone of genius.
Mm-hmm.
They really want to dive deeper into more
Mm-hmm.
specific concepts. Yeah, that's where
Okay.
we're gonna.
I interviewed very recently this woman, Marin, who's a musician and she's writing a musical. So would this be helpful?
Nice.
Yes.
Ooh, fun. I don't know about helpful, but like I'd love to have a conversation with her.
Okay, good.
Well, we do a lot of we have like music producers that are using it,
Uh-huh.
and they want to get better at writing melodies.
Okay.
They have been trying to force melodies for a very long time, and they all become very bland and boring. And so we have a couple of music producers that are trying to embody the act of writing a melody um, much more, because
Right.
they learn from the outside in instead of the inside out. Like
Yes.
the music that they want to write needs to come from the inside out instead of the outside in. So
Got
MuseFlow is
it.
helping them embody the patterns that
Mm-hmm.
come with certain melodies so much
Okay, so if I
easier.
want to get this program, embody the melodies, that's amazing. If I want to get this program, what do I do?
Well, right now we do have a little bit of technical limitations. You have to have a computer, you have to have a laptop
Okay.
or a desktop.
Most people have that.
Thank God.
Yeah.
You have to have a MIDI compatible keyboard.
Okay.
Anything from a small little MIDI keyboard to, a full-blown thing like a clavinova that you can
Okay.
set your computer on, and
Yes.
you have to be able to jack it in with a MIDI cable into your
Okay.
computer. And then you just go to museflow.ai and you sign up for the free trial, and it's right there. It's in the browser.
Mm-hmm.
We're making this into an app right now, and we're also creating an audio recognition algorithm. It's really
Okay.
good. We're in the midst of like perfecting it and tweaking it, and so that'll help
Okay.
where you can, with the app, just put your phone, put your tablet on your keyboard or on your piano, and then it'll hear you.
Oh.
Um, and so that's something our competitors have, and we're in the midst of building that right now. So, but right now, if you want to take advantage of the Authentic 50
Mm-hmm.
discount code, which gets you 50% off for life,
Mm-hmm.
we
Wow.
want more early adopters. We want more people to talk to about this. We want more people that are using this,
Mm-hmm.
that give us feedback, that we have that relationship with. We're
Yeah.
not at our quota yet for that.
Mm-hmm.
So we give you this discount code so that, hopefully some people that are listening to this actually want to try MuseFlow. We make it a lot easier for them by making it $3.99 a month or
Okay. And what's the
$39.89 a year.
website I go on to?
www.museflow.ai.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go to that, guys. Use your MuseFlow 50. Sorry, Authentic
Authentic 50.
50. Haha. Authentic 50. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's like, when they go into that site, there's a way to like stay in touch with you.
Yeah. I mean, you can email me at patrick.boylan@museflow.ai.
Okay, good.
Find us on Instagram, DM us there, email info@museflow.ai. Like there's many, many ways to get in touch with me. Yeah. Yeah, you would just put that discount code into the free trial page, and
That's
it'll
amazing.
apply whenever you actually start your subscription. So,
Okay, and so just to round this out in terms of being an entrepreneur, because a lot of our listeners are entrepreneurs,
oh, cool.
and you're I mean, it's like a lot goes into this.
Yeah.
What would you say for advice? What would you have told yourself? What you know now from when you started being an entrepreneur, which is probably forever ago, but what was maybe one thing you wish you had known?
Well, I only started this about 2.5 years ago. I brought this to MuseFlow is ostensibly how I kind of taught myself how to play piano after taking 8 years of lessons, right? I hated every minute of it, and my teacher then retired, and so I ended up kind of teaching myself how to play piano with these bite-sized skills, these bite-sized little, I take that out of sheet music and I close it, and then I get on into flow by improvising around those phrases. And then I
Hmm.
found out years later that I was like learning the building blocks of musical theater,
Yeah.
which makes me now able to pretty much sight read any sort of musical theater piece. But that being said, I only started building this with my co-founder 2.5 years ago.
Hmm.
We just started talking about it. He's a music teacher. He's a composer, and he kind of had a similar idea. And we were like, oh my God, let's build this out, right? Into a whole ecosystem of features. And so then we brought it to, we were like, okay, let's get money, right? And so we pitched it to a couple of VC firms, and all of them were like, cool, love the idea. Have you guys built anything ever? And we were like, no, we haven't. And they're like, okay, you need to like build this first. Find some friends, give them equity. These are going to be your technical co-founders. Build the app and get some users, and let's talk then, right?
Hmm.
Um, and so I think, and so then we did that, right? We ended up like finding an old friend from Stephen Gizzy's hometown. He's a bass player. He's a data scientist. Tucker is his name. He came on. He's our first co-founder. And then Stephen Staley, who is a back-end engineer, a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend. We
Yeah, so
pitched
you're
him.
saying step by step for the entrepreneurs out there, you
Yeah,
didn't know what you're saying. This is only recently. I didn't know what I was doing necessarily in terms of the whole spectrum of what I needed, but I
right.
slowly brought the pieces together and one step at a time created this group, this cohesive group that then like brought my vision into the world.
The
And
two
so,
things that I'd take away from this process
mhm,
of entrepreneurship, which I never considered myself to be an entrepreneur until now, right? Is number one, patience. You're not the person to dictate the timeline. And don't get mad if the people that are building your product are slow. They have their day jobs. They have other parts of their life that they have to take care of before they work on MuseFlow. Are you hearing that
mhm,
now? Were you
mhm.
hearing?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
so you're saying
So like
patience.
patience is number one, and
It's
number
not going to be in
two,
your ego's timing.
It's
Yep.
not your timing. And
Yep.
I was getting so frustrated that it was taking so much time.
Yes.
Um,
Same with
but
book writing. Yeah, for
it kind of
sure.
the same thing, right?
Yep.
But it's like not up to me. I'm the one that brought the idea to my team, and now it's pretty much in their hands. It's my job to keep them motivated. It's my job to show them,
Ah,
it's my job
yes.
to show them the beauty of the product that we're making. Okay.
The
And show
vision.
the vision and really like like I share with them all of the user experience, all of
Mm-hmm.
the like I get an email from one of our users or I do a Zoom call with one of our users and I show them the videos from I show them those emails and
Yeah.
I show them that people are loving it, you know?
Yes.
Like that motivation is so insane.
Right. So
Um,
keep bringing people back to like, why are we doing this? What's the vision? Here's why it's so good. Here's why it's going to work. Keeping
if
them motivated, yeah, got it.
yeah, if you're not excited about what you're making, it's pointless to me. You
Yep.
gotta like, even if you fake the enjoyment, fake the excitement,
Yeah.
especially when you're working with people. Like
Yeah.
you have to motivate them and keep them engaged. Fake your excitement for it. Okay.
Interesting.
That's number one. So the patience and motivation. Number
Yeah.
two is the communication styles. I
Right.
I talk a lot. I'm very verbose, but working with people that are software engineers, some people are very blunt,
Mm-hmm.
very direct,
Mm-hmm.
very short, very curt, you need to be okay with that. And you need to hear the words they're feeling behind their words. That's really key here. Even if they don't have feelings, they say they don't have feelings, they've got feelings. Everybody has a
Mm.
ton of them, you
Yep.
know. So be empathetic, be kind.
That's great advice. I love
Like
it.
you don't have to be nice. Don't be nice. Be kind.
Right? There's a difference.
Major difference.
I love
So,
that. The reason I said I thought you'd been an entrepreneur for years and years and years is because I view being an actor and an entertainer as being an entrepreneur.
oh, okay.
Yeah, because
That makes sense
you're selling
actually. Okay.
yourself,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and now instead of always full-time selling yourself, you're selling a vision, an
Right.
idea, a
Right.
process. Yeah. So that's why I was saying that. But
Oh,
I
that makes
think
sense. Yeah.
this is here's the thing. Anything that we're selling, because we're all selling something
Right.
in general, unless you're working for a franchise of some sort where you just clock in and clock out. But most people are selling something.
Right.
And it's like, how are you going to enjoy that process and allow yourself to grow as a human through that process? And what more perfect of a thing than to have this project that you've had that's not easy to
Mm.
grow yourself as a person? I have to be kind. I have to be patient. I have to communicate well. I have to focus. I have to listen. I have to take feedback. Like, oh my gosh, you're going to grow so much as a human. So here is, God, source, universe, design, whatever you want to call it, giving me, implanting this dream in me so it can come through me so that I can then help all these other people be musicians and enjoy their flow state. Like, and now I get to be this better human through the process of bringing this to life in the best way possible so that people can actually want to obtain it. It's like that's the hardest thing, but it's also got the best reward.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's really cool. Like I
Thank you.
definitely feel as like an actor, it's so like, what's your next project? Like it's so out of your hands, you know?
That's
Um,
right.
that finally having something that is purpose.
Yep.
Like, what's your purpose as an actor? Like, cool, get the next job and entertain people. Amazing. I love it. That's very, very noble. I think we need more people like that. We need more opportunities like that. Um, but having something tangible to actually work towards, like a goal like this, is a whole different way for me to live. And
Yeah.
I gotta say, like, it's cool. It's great to have a purpose that is like it's there, it's on the internet for people to use, and people are using it, and I'm like, whoa!
Yes.
I'm like, it's so gosh, it's a whole different type of profound like purpose for
There's
me. Yeah,
such
you're so right.
tangibility to it, and
Yeah.
there's a light, like you said, there's a life to this. There's a longevity to this. So if they're using that code Authentic 50, they're getting this discount for life because you've built something that they're going to use for as long as they want to. And that sustainability and that foundation of something you've built that people can use over time and be of service to them
Yeah.
is a lot more gratifying than like this fleeting moment of acting where you connect for a minute and then you're back in your trailer or whatever,
Yeah.
right? So, well, thank you so much, Patrick. This was
Oh
really
my God.
fun.
Thank
I'm
you.
so excited to bring this. You're so welcome. This project that you've been working on that I think can bring a lot of joy to a lot of people, to
Thanks.
them. And please reach out to Patrick. All of it's going to be in the show notes. If you have any questions about this, I'm sure he's, going to want to hear your feedback and engage with you.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, thank you guys for listening. Keep expanding your capacity to feel good, one breath at a time. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned because we got a lot more goodness to come, and we'll see you soon. Bye.